dare I say, the Cardinals might actually be good. Pull out the broomsticks, Cardinal Nation. They've swept the Minnesota Twins to start the 2025 season 3-0. The first time they started a season 3-0 since 2006, if you want to think back to what happened that year. Okay, we're not quite ready to go there yet on dealing the cards, but we are really excited and want to break down what was an excellent opening weekend series for the St. Louis Cardinals on this episode of Dealing the Cards. Woo! Welcome into Dealing the Cards. I'm Josh, joined by Andrew. Sandy couldn't make it today, but man, we are fired up and excited to watch good baseball this weekend. Andrew and I were at opening day, which was just an awesome experience, packed setting, great weekend. Saturday's game was also excellent again. And then Sunday, man, the Cardinals bats came out once again. Brant Brown, give the man a lifetime extension. The Cardinals are 3-0 and set to face the Los Angeles Angels their next 3 games. So you never know. Could they be 3-3 or 6-0? I'm kind of predicting one or the other. I think they're either going to do 2 sweeps in a row or they're going to get swept. I just feels like that's what's going to happen. But hey, the offense looked great. The starting pitching, we could talk about a little bit because I think there was some hard contact against like Palante and Fetty at times, which like, okay, you can't sustain all the way, but it was good, right? And the bullpen looked great. Base running was great. Man, the Cardinals looked fun today. And yes, bring out the brooms in the chat. Andrew, how'd you feel about the Cardinals this weekend? Also, the fact that I'm saying, how'd you feel about the Cardinals this weekend with this tone rather than how do we feel about the Cardinals this weekend? That is a very big change for us, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was I'm trying to connect my mic real quick. Because we kind of topped on here. Here we go. I think there it is. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to start off the season strong. They've failed to do that in the last couple of seasons. I think they lost opening day the last 2 years, if I'm correct. So winning
did they lose to the Marlins? I can't remember. I thought they pulled it out, but maybe
they lost to the Blue Jays on opening day.
In 2023 they did, but did they
and
lose
then they
to
lost
the
to they played the Dodgers.
Oh, I was thinking home opener. Yeah, right. You're right. They lost
and you don't want to be playing the Dodgers right now on opening day. That's does not go well. So I mean, I'm excited to see what they can do. They played a team that's not at full strength right now. The Twins have a couple injuries, but overall,
Zach Thompson's out too, so the Cardinals aren't at full strength.
True. AndrewRom.com. But I mean, this is a Twins team that has aspirations of winning the division. Not a great start for them, but they have a lot of talent on that roster. And you were able to keep Buxton and Correa from really doing a lot of big damage against you. So that was good to see. Sonny Gray, I'm a little bit worried about, but I think Palante looked good. Fetty looked good yesterday. So, and the Cardinals are in first place. Like, hopefully the Diamondbacks can come back and beat the Cubs today, and then you're solid like 2 games ahead of everyone else, and that's exactly what you like to see. The Brewers are not off to a hot start this season, but obviously just need to keep it going. I'm seeing really good at bats from Jordan Walker, Victor Scott. Nolan Gorman had a couple of really good at bats today, hit a home run in his first game of the season, so hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of that and seeing him in the lineup a lot more going forward. Arenado looks great. I feel like Contreras hasn't had a hit, but I feel like he's had some good at bats, hit the ball pretty hard. So, and Pedro Paez, I guess, which hopefully that doesn't mean less playing time for Herrera. But if you're seeing that kind of production out of Paez on day one, that's not too bad. It's pretty good all around. I don't think I missed anybody who really impressed me this weekend, but the lineup looks really good. Brant Brown, I don't know, like he's as advertised. I guess everyone seems to be doing exactly what you want. Good at bats with runners in scoring position, and you're getting hits with runners in scoring position, which is new and something we haven't seen in a year or two. So I'm really excited to see what the Cardinals can do against the Angels this upcoming week. Kyle Hendricks is starting for them on Tuesday, so
there you go.
Unfortunate that you can't seem to run away from him even when he went to the American League, but hopefully they can keep it up. the Angels are not good. They just played a series against the White Sox, and it was about as even as it could have been. So unfortunate for the fans out in Anaheim, but good for us because you know, another matchup that is favorable for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. Let's talk. Let's just hone in on the offense to start because I think that is the thing that going into the season we all have the most question marks about, right? Like, and remember coming into 2024, like one of my predictions was this lineup was easily going to be easily. I can't remember if I said easily top 10 or was I think a bold prediction was a top 5 lineup in baseball, but I was like it's a top 10 lineup in all of baseball going into 2024. Um because of how the Cardinals offense looked at the beginning of 2023. They were a top 7 lineup in all of baseball going into the trade deadline. Brendan Donovan hits the injured list. They sell at the deadline. Even in that terrible first half, they were an excellent offense. They did struggle at times to score runs. I think they're like 12th in runs scored, but they're tied for 7th or 6th or 8th in pretty much every rate stat. So they have the talent. They've lost Goldschmidt, obviously, but now you've got Contreras playing first base every day. You've got Ivan Herrera in the lineup now. Victor Scott's an upgrade in center field over what you had over Michael Ciani last year. Obviously, Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, these guys keep developing. They're young guys with upside that just some of them have produced at the major league level before, such as a Jordan Walker, a Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, Nolan Gorman at different times. But then you also have guys like Walker and Gorman last year who had down years. You had Brendan Donovan and Lars Nootbaar who were good last year, but they were declining in performance rather than taking steps forward. Ivan Herrera, you only got half a season of. So there is all the reason in the world to talk yourself into this lineup has more in it than what we've seen before. But at the same time, you got to see it, right? You can't just keep saying that over and over again and for it to be true. And we're three games into the 162 game season. So as much as I want to get uber excited, being almost 2% into the season, I think I need to like we got to calm down a little bit. But I think more even than the actual production we've seen so far, because right, we've seen the offense have good days before. We've seen some of these guys have good days before. It is again a three game series, but it's the type of at bats they're taking. Even Alec Burleson, who notoriously kind of just swings at everything, who's taking really good at bats right now and taking walks. You have Nolan Gorman, who's just doing what he needs to do with the pitch. And when a terrible slider is thrown on a 1-0 count into the middle of the zone, he mashes it into the bleachers, right? Even coming off the bench and not getting a start in their first 2 games, had a great day today. Pedro Paez had a great day today. Victor Scott just looks like a new man compared to where he was this time last year. Mason Wynn is one guy who doesn't look good right now, and he didn't look good in camp, and so we got to monitor that. Wilson Contreras has been hitting the ball in the nose. Some at bats haven't been great, but like that last one, he drilled it off of what's his face's ankle. Bad luck there. You've even had like Scott have a couple rockets have gotten caught. Burleson, I think in game 1 had 1 hit, but then 2 rockets in the infield. Walker's single the other day was the hardest hit ball by a Cardinal since Marcell Ozuna, and it was only a single because it had a weird bounce. Like, anyways, there's a lot of things that I'm just like anecdotally you look at, and those smaller things that are not even just the OPS, the slug, the on base percentage, the average, that make you think, man, there's something a little bit different about this team. I don't know if you guys seen this image going around on social media yet, but I think it's from Saturday's game when they were changing pitchers out. Brant Brown was out of the dugout with the iPad, and you had like 8 Cardinal hitters surrounding him. I've never seen that many guys surrounding the hitting coach before talking about something. You again, I let's be honest here. Like if every single time the Cardinals had a hitting coach, all the players did was pump them up 24/7, it'd be hard to believe. But you never heard anyone talk about Turner Ward unless they're asked to. Guys were over the moon about Brant Brown. And so coming into the season, we all kind of heard like, okay, like maybe there's something interesting about this guy. I know he had a weird experience in Seattle for sure, but he did help the Marlins overachieve and get to the playoffs. He was in the Los Angeles Dodgers system. And so far, this team is hitting. And they did off of Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan. I mean, they hit Duran. They hit Griffin Jacks. Like these are not like Griffin Jacks was a top 5 reliever in baseball last year. We all know how dirty Duran is. Pablo Lopez, he's not like a top end pitcher, but he can be a 1 on a team. He's like Sonny Gray, right? Joe Ryan's a good number 2, number 3 type. And this offense did it today. It did it yesterday, and it did it on Friday. And I'm really encouraged by it. I think getting at bats to all these guys is going to be an adventure, and eventually an injury is going to happen to someone, and you're going to get more time out there. But man, they look good right now. Who's the guy at the plate so far, Andrew, or maybe two guys? You can pick whatever that you've been most impressed by so far.
I mean, I think it's Victor Scott. His approach has just completely changed.
Yeah.
Just looking like a completely different hitter. A lot of his at bats last year were not competitive at all, and it seems like he's translating a lot of what his success from camp into the regular season, which is something he wasn't able to do. Had a big homer today. That'll happen from time to time, but he's not going to. Don't expect that out of him. He's not going to start the 60-60 club, unfortunately.
You never know.
I mean, he is I think he's on pace too.
He is definitely on pace
to go 50-50, but
he's on pace for like, I don't know how many home runs, but 162 stolen bases right now.
So. Yeah. So, well, okay. Yeah. But I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah. I'm joking.
Power production out of him going forward. But his swing looks different. It looks better. He actually got robbed of a hit today because Pedro Paez forgot to run.
Yeah, that sucked.
Fortunate. But yeah, I mean, the numbers look great. He's hitting the ball hard. And I just want to shout out the entire team because it seems like it's just refreshing to see them hit with runners in scoring position. Maybe that's because Goldie is now a leadoff hitter for the Yankees, and he's not having to hit with wrist anymore, at least to start the game. But it's definitely looking better. The approach looks better from everybody. Arenado looks like he's not making half swings. He doesn't look like he's hurt. Jordan Walker also has impressed me, just laying off some of those pitches that he was swinging at last year. He's hitting the ball hard, still needs to find a way to elevate. But overall, like it's a good 1-2-3 for the Twins, as Kareem's pointing out here in the chat. And like they were able to get to all three of those starting pitchers that were pretty solid. Some of the relievers were pretty solid. And overall, like I don't think there's a single hitter except for Mason Wynn who I can say is like, yeah, this guy really isn't doing what I think he's capable of. Contreras is 0 for like whatever, but a lot of hard hit balls, just some bad luck there. Yeah. I'm not like out of all of the hitters in this lineup, he's probably the one that we should worry about the least.
Yeah. If you told me he goes 0 for in the first series of the year, I'd be like, they probably got swept. And the fact that they just swept the Twins and scored 5 runs, and 9 runs without Wilson doing anything, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so that's for sure. And then, I mean, the offense just looks like it's alive, which is great. Like this is probably more fun this weekend I've had watching this team play than I have in the last like 2 years, right? Yeah. And, like maybe there's games that I'm forgetting, like they were in it for a little bit last summer, but last summer it was really like just winning games like 3-2, and you're not really doing too much offensively, and you kind of knew that it was going to fizzle out eventually, and you were going to see, you know, this team played down to its expectations based on the run differentials and stuff, and then it did. But this year, like so far, like this has been great. I don't really see any warning signs with much, right? Like Sonny Gray, a little bit, I would say, in the first game. But other than that, I don't really see much. And I'm hopeful with 3 starters that are not like the 3 starters they're facing against the Angels is probably, you know, they're probably all worse than the 3 starters that the Twins had. Like Yusei Kikuchi maybe would be like 3rd. And the Twins, like, I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, Kyle Hendricks against the Cardinals, you never know whatever. I'm not even going to really. I mean, hey, maybe Brant Brown can solve Kyle Hendricks, you know, for the first time. But it seems like no matter who's on this team, like Kyle Hendricks is going to do it. Or maybe Kyle Hendricks be on the Angels. It's just going to make him terrible against the Cardinals too. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to write too much into that start. It's just weird whenever he pitches against the Cardinals. But if that's what they did against 3 solid starters, and Bailey Ober, I think, is a guy that the Twins fans and people all over baseball are high on this season. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far out of this lineup. I just hope that they can keep it up.
Yeah, it's hard not to say Victor Scott for sure. He's been so impressive so far. So clearly he's been one of the most impressive guys. I will go with Lars Nootbaar, because again, we've been saying it for a very long time. This guy, when he's on the field, can produce and is a very good bat. Again, he's not a superstar, but I think he could be an all-star this year. I really do. And my bold prediction coming into this year is that Lars Nootbaar, he will be the breakout hitter. He's going to be the guy that finally puts it all together. If he plays a full season and stays on the field consistently, he's going to produce. He's in the leadoff spot now, which he's very comfortable with. Uh, but one of the things right now that I'm really intrigued by is he's doing the on base stuff like he's always done, but he's being more aggressive. He's taking when guys give him something in the zone to hit, he's being aggressive at it, and he's using that bat speed. He's using that contact rate. He's using that ability to put the ball in the gaps or over the fence and do damage. I love his spot in the lineup right now because you've got him batting behind Victor Scott and Mason Wynn, the very bottom of the lineup, who basically act like leadoff guys. And I have something written about this right now. It's going to go live tomorrow. That the ability to have that much speed and contact ability, the very bottom of the lineup, puts pressure on an opposing pitcher in a way that most 8-9 guys don't do. Now, again, I'm not trying to overstate it because those guys have to get on base for it to matter, right? Like Victor Scott's speed only means something if he's actually on first base. But he's getting on base right now. And even Mason Wynn not getting on base, when you have Victor Scott on base, what it does is the opposing pitcher, if they want to beat Mason Wynn with that curveball or slider low and outside that he loves to chase at, well, guess what? You're basically giving a stolen base to Victor Scott right there. So would you like Victor Scott to end up on second? Well, attack Mason Wynn how you want to. If you don't want him to, then you throw him fastballs. And guess what Mason Wynn loves to hit? Fastballs. Mason Wynn can put a ball into the outfield with Victor Scott on first. He can end up on third or at home. If they both get on, that puts, which we've seen multiple times this series with Wynn and Scott both on base. Then you've got Lars Nootbaar coming to the plate, who is an on-base guy, a leadoff guy, but when you put runners in scoring position, that dude knows how to get the runs across the plate still. You got Wilson Contreras following him, and Brendan Donovan knows how to take a good at-bat. I have loved where Lars Nootbaar is in this lineup. I love the fact that he can hit both right-handed and left-handed pitching too, so he can be the guy who leads off the game every single day. You don't have to do a rotating cast of that. I think if there's any spot in the lineup where consistency matters, I think it is that leadoff guy. Second, third, fourth, everything else, I think you can interchange it a little bit and guys will be fine. But he embodies what you need out of that guy in that spot right now, especially with the added advantage of what the bottom of that lineup looks like. And then again, he is the energy guy. He's the heart and soul of this team right now. And I think it matters a lot that he sets the tone in the lineup and on the field and in the clubhouse. He's a guy who made a diving catch at left field the other day, which was just really fun to watch. Lars Nootbaar, I've been so impressed with him so far. And I knew it was in him. We've known it for a while. I know there's doubters, but he's a guy. And the Cardinals, if they're going to remain successful this year, they need Lars Nootbaar to continue to be a guy. Another one I'll throw out there, though, is Jordan Walker. And I think it's especially notable that the types of at-bats he's been taking so far, just, again, I actually care way more about how it looks right now than the numbers because, again, it's a 3-game sample size, right? Like, I don't think this is going to happen, knock on wood. But there's a chance we come back on Wednesday and the Cardinals got swept by the Angels, and it is like, well, we look like idiots. But like the numbers on the field, they're one thing. But when you look at Jordan Walker right now, that dude looks so comfortable. He's not swinging at that crap outside the zone. He's spitting on pitches. He's taking a walk. He's hitting the ball with authority and he's driving it. And you can tell there's still room to grow in terms of getting the ball in the air and in the gaps and over the fence. But he doesn't look lost anymore. He looks comfortable in his own skin. He didn't play today, but he did the first 2 games of the series. How many hits did he have total? He had 2 hits in those games and how many? And 2 walks. I'm really liking what I'm seeing for Jordan Walker right now too. And I want to give Ollie some credit with the bench here in a minute, but those 2 guys have been great. And then obviously Nolan Arenado too, right? I mean, he's been taking his at-bats. He crushed the home run on opening day. He's a guy right now that, again, if he's going to be hitting that cleanup spot, if he's on the team, they need him to produce. And I don't expect him to be a 1,400 OPS guy like he is right now throughout the year, but can he be a 790, 800, 810 guy? Can he be closer to an all-star self than league average self? I don't think the Cardinals are expecting him. I don't think any of us are expecting him to be an MVP type guy. He can be an all-star guy again. His bat speed's back. You love to see what you've got from Nolan Arenado. It's fun right now, Andrew. It really is. But can I tell you something that I need to eat crow on?
What?
I And I know many others did this too, but I just gotta admit, I was wrong about the bench. I see the vision now, and it makes a lot of sense. I have loved that in the 8th and ninth innings, they bring in Michael Ciani over Jordan Walker, put him in center, and he made a really great play on Saturday. And then the ball just finds whoever comes into a game. And if your ball's going to find Michael Ciani, that's a good thing. The defenses look great so far. You have Brendan Donovan today, who plays left field most of the game, and then moves back to second base based off some of the positioning, which I was very curious if they would do that today, and they did. I love it. I love putting Donovan in the outfield to get Gorman into the lineup, and then you move him back to second base when you do the whole let's put the hands team in with Michael Ciani. But they put Michael Ciani out there. They move Brendan Donovan to second base, and he makes an incredible play. He made a couple great plays on Thursday at second base. Mason Wynn obviously is great at shortstop. Nolan Arenado looks great. I like bringing in Pedro Pages late into a game as well. We haven't seen the Luke and Baker or Nolan Gorman or Alec Burleson coming off the bench scenario yet. But having most days, you're probably going to have Baker and then either Gorm or Burleson off the bench, maybe Walker in a case like this. But if the Cardinals are down in a game late in the game and say Mason Wynn's at the plate and he's struggling, or Victor Scott's struggling, he's at the plate, or you've got a left-on-left matchup with Burleson, you can bring in Luke and Baker. You can bring in Nolan Gorman or Jordan Walker, whoever's off the bench, and you can have that offensive punch. The bench is a weird thing when you try to think of how do you construct a lineup day to day in terms of like who do you sub in, because there's a lot of guys who do similar things. But the lineup or this bench makes a ton of sense for how you deploy it late in games. And that's something that Ollie Marmol lamented last summer, because there's that June 11th game last year where he brings in Jose Fermin to face a lefty in a big spot. And then they ask him about it after game. He's like, what do you want me to do? He basically said that without saying it, but he's like, I had Brandon Crawford, I had Jose Fermin, I had Dylan Carlson, but I needed him because I needed a backup center fielder for later, and I had Pedro Pages. Who do I bring in? Obviously Jose Fermin, and no one likes that. But guess what? That's the bench I have. Right now, when you're losing in a game, he can go to Luke and Baker, who can crush lefties, or he can go to Nolan Gorman or someone else against a righty. And then when they're winning, they can bring in that elite defense to close down the game. Again, it's way easier to be excited about stuff like that when you're up, when you win 3-0, you sweep, all that stuff looks good. But I see the vision for the bench right now, especially if they're going to be playing these same 9 to 10 guys every day. Then you base the best use of the bench is how do you figure out a way to deploy a guy in a game rather than plug him in once in a while, right? Like Jose Fermin playing once every 12 days over Mason Wynn, it's fine, but it doesn't matter a lot. But putting in Michael Ciani's played in every game. Pedro Pages has played in every game so far because they have a role, and so that's how you get more guys opportunities during a game too. So I'm just rambling about a lot of stuff I love right now. Let's thank a couple for sponsors real quick, and then we can get into some of the pitching and defense conversation. But obviously, I want to thank our presenting sponsor, 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're located at 9640 Olive Boulevard in Olivet. Open 10 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. They buy, sell, and trade all sports cards and Pokemon cards. They have the newest selections of packs, boxes, and single cards of local players and stars from around the league. You got to go check them out. You can rip packs like that. We know many of you already check them out. A couple of you DM me actually over the weekend and went and checked out 314. So make sure you go check out 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. Let them know we sent you. They've got other sports like F1 and NFL and basketball cards. Are you ripping that pack on the stream?
Yeah, they gave me a whole box of 20 packs to do for us. It's got Aaron Judge on it. Oh, I dropped it. Unfortunate. Anyway.
Well, as you're ripping that too, like they've got other stuff in store too. So if you go in there, they've got signed jerseys or game used material, apparel, different kinds of things. They've got boxes, all that kind of stuff. It's super fun. Oh, Michael King, not John King, but it'll do. Martinez, he's a decent prospect for the Blue Jays. Keith, can you see, or like, am I reading Matt Chapman? Ohtani. No, it's Corbin Carroll.
Oh.
Jake Bloss, can't lie, don't know him. And Scooble. Okay. Oh, you still got more. Seth Lugo. Is that the last one?
There's 14 cards in it. Oh,
Lars Nootbaar, the man, the myth, the legend. He's in. Let's go. Oh, and Lindor flipped the other way. Yeah, your cards have flipped the other way now. Lindor.
Oh, this is.
Let us know in the stream. Do you like ripping it during the ad read, or would you rather us just do this quick? If you like watching them through. Julio, yeah, they're both flipped now. There's more. Wow, they're like all flipped.
There's a lot of
Julio.
cards.
That's a ton of cards for one pack.
2 of these.
Jeffries, okay.
Pretty
Jake
cool.
Irving. Nice. That's a good pack. You love to see that. Well, again, go check out 314 Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're a great sponsor of the podcast. We appreciate them. And then we want you to hear a word from our one of our other partners, Underdog Sports. The Deal in the Cards podcast is proud to be partnered with Underdog Sports, our favorite place to play fantasy games. You're now eligible to play in Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, and 37 other U.S. states. You got to check out Pick'em. It's so easy to play. You just pick 2 to 8 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can win 20 times your money by going 5 for 5. If that sounds like fun, sign up with our promo code CARDS to claim your first free pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We can't wait to see your entries.
Apparently, the Lindor that I got is worth something, according to people in the chat.
Oh, that's nice. Wow, they gifted them to you and not me. Interesting. We're at the go to arbitration over that one. Anyways, hey, a good point from the chat here. When are the Cardinals going to have a 9 home run game? Were they going to start bringing out those weird bats? I don't know. We'll see.
Against the Brewers, maybe. Against Nestor Cortez.
Man, loving that Nestor Cortez trade right now. But, of course, the year I gave the Brewers respect, they might not be good. But 1 year.
They might be like really bad. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just the Yankees and the Yankees. But the Yankees aren't their roster's not that good.
Yeah, except that something seemed a little up. I mean, because they hit more home. How many home runs did they have in the series? Like an insane amount.
Judge is 4 now, which is crazy.
I saw Jazz hit another one today. They're kind of wild right now. But
Goldie's like 400.
Yeah, love that for Goldie. But hey, we still love Paul Goldschmidt around here. We're not Paul Goldschmidt haters. But
no, I just think we should have batted him leadoff all of last year, and that would have fixed a lot of our issues.
But. Yeah, maybe it would have instead of Mason Wynn. But I didn't really get your thoughts on the bench situation because I know you have thoughts about Nolan Gorman being on the bench. I know he had a great day today, but I guess 2 separate questions within that for you. But do you like seeing how Marmol has deployed the bench so far? Because to be fair, like I had my skepticism about if he'd actually deploy it like this and not like just start Michael Ciani every other day, which I guess there's plenty of time for that to happen. But do you like what you've seen from the bench so far? And does the bench make more sense to you now? And then the whole Nolan Gorman, Alec Burleson dilemma, like I know you have thoughts about that.
I mean, I'm fine with the way the bench is constructed. I think that was always like kind of the case. I do think that there's a little bit of a redundancy with having so many DH bats on the roster, like Gorman and Burleson and Luke and Baker. But I mean, there's not really a need for Jose Fermin on this roster. I don't think Mason Wynn, like, if he's struggling and if the bat's not working, like, you can hide him at the bottom of the lineup and it should be okay. And Victor Scott is hitting so well right now where I don't think there's even a doubt that Ollie would sit Victor Scott for Michael Ciani more than like once a week at this point if he keeps it up like this.
Yeah.
Plus, like, Michael Ciani, I don't know. Has he even had an at-bat? He's played all 3 games. I don't think he's taken an at-bat, which is pretty funny. Also, Connor Thomas made his debut yesterday, and I think gave up like 5 runs. So that's unfortunate for him. But he might end up back in the Cardinals system soon. But I really just have some strong feelings about the way that Nolan Gorman is being used, and hopefully today's game will change that because he looked really good. He didn't strike out a single time. I don't think I don't know. He might have swung and missed once or twice, but the at-bats looked a lot better than they did last year. They looked a lot better than they did over spring. And over spring, one thing I did notice I didn't get a chance to point out is that his strikeout rate was actually a bit lower than normal. He was still striking out quite a bit, but like lower than Nolan Gorman sort of standard. So just kind of looked like he was getting used to that swing. And Nolan Gorman just has so much more potential than Alec Burleson. Like Alec Burleson could be a great hitter one day, but Nolan Gorman could be an elite power hitter in today's game. And that's something that you need to have success, right? You look at all of these teams, and I say it over and over again, every National League team that is contending has 1 or 2 left-handed power bats for the playoffs. And those are the guys.
Is Victor Scott not a left-handed power bat?
Okay, well.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, Lars Nootbaar might be too, right? Like, you don't know. Like, I feel like he has more potential to develop into that. But Nolan Gorman has 45 homer potential. in that bat somewhere. And, like he looked really comfortable today. Did he get out? I don't think he got out. I think it's 3
He was
or maybe 3
he
for
was
4.
4. He was 4 for 3 or 3 for 4. That wouldn't make sense. He was 3 for 4.
So yeah, so 3 for 4, 2 singles and a homer, and that homer was on an awful pitch, obviously. But I think there's certain times where, like tomorrow, I wouldn't really mind if they put Luke and Baker in the DH spot instead of Nolan Gorman, right? And that's totally okay. I would not be upset with
Is
that
tomorrow a
because
lefty?
yeah, tomorrow they're facing Tyler Anderson.
Oh, yeah,
He
okay, yeah,
throws like
definitely want Baker
89
in the
miles
lineup.
an hour, and I feel like
Yeah,
Luke Baker could get one off him.
1000% want Baker in the
That's
lineup.
fine. I wouldn't be mad about that. But if they wanted to give a day off to like Brendan Donovan or something, and you want to stick Nolan Gorman at second base, that's also fine. Like I think he should just be prioritized over Alec Burleson, who has been fine. Like he's hit the ball hard. The results maybe haven't been there in a 3-game set, but we're not really worried about that. Like his at bats look better. They look cleaner than they did last year. And I don't understand why they want to sit Nolan Gorman on the bench. And there's not really a way to make it so like Jordan Walker sat today to give Nolan Gorman the playing time today, and that's not ideal. Like you want Jordan Walker to get as many plate appearances too, but it seems like Gorman is the last guy on that poll right now, and I don't agree with that. I think he should be prioritized. Like it should be Walker, and then it should be Gorman, and then everyone else kind of. So you can rotate that, but Gorman getting 2 off days in a row didn't make me very happy. Hopefully, he'll get the opportunities against the Angels. There are 2 lefties though, so like Luke and Baker should probably play both of those days, but I would like to see him in the lineup against Hendricks on Tuesday for sure.
Yeah. I think there's a give and take, right? Because like to Kareem's point in the chat, and I think other people, it's like Burley had the better spring, but also like it's been 3 games. And so it's hard to like really say like is the plan that he plays once out of every 3 games this year? Because if so, that's not gonna be ideal for him. But is it also like matchup based? Is it this is probably more the scenario, right? It's also like it's probably not great for Alec Burleson either if you're going to commit to him as the starter to pull him out every other day and just be like Gorman this day, Burleson this day, Gorman this day, Burleson this day. Like I'm fine with them running with Burleson, and like again, it isn't just righty lefty; it is the style of pitcher sometimes. And I again as someone who all camp was like Nolan Gorman should be the starter, and getting him a lineup means sending. Like I was the one saying Victor Scott should start in AAA, so Nolan Gorman could play every day, like and Burleson. So I can't I was a fan of that. But I just don't think it's as big of a travesty as we're making it out to be right now. And if he hits and he plays games and mashes home runs and is getting on base, it's like he's going to play. Burleson has been hitting the ball well so far. I think he had like going into today, I should check Baseball Savant, but he had like a 420 WOBA or expected WOBA. So like the balls he was hitting were supposed to be hits, and they were just going right at guys, which is the story of Alec Burleson's life. But I just think his 100 something batting average today is a little bit misleading. Yeah, he's like 91st percentile squared up percentage. Oh wait, sorry, this was last year. Again, it's a small sample size. He's squaring at the ball 97% percentile right now. Great whiff rate. Yeah, xWOBA is good. So like it's the numbers so far again 3 days look good. Outside of the traditional numbers. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see Nolan Gorman get in there more. Let's say too, like, okay, you've got Nato, who's I think they're gonna rest him a little bit more this year to keep him fresh, I would think, and make more sense. Newt's gonna have to get some off days here and there, just because, especially the injury history. I think they're going to be a little bit slower with him. Victor Scott will have off days, and my hope is that they move Nootbaar on those days because it won't be every other day or 3 days. It'll be like every 5 or 6 days. Like I think Newt can play center that often, and you got Michael Ciani, you can come off the bench later if you want to upgrade the defense. But there's like 7 guys that could get an off day every day or every few days or so. And even if you just went into a rotation where every day a different one of those guys is getting an off day, they're playing 6 out of every 7 games, which is like 85% of the games. And that's how you fit Gorman into the lineup, where he's getting an off day every 2 out of every 7 games or so. So we'll see how they do it. It's just too small of a sample size to see. But to your point, if Gorman, if they want him to become the bat that would really help this lineup, he can't just sit on the bench every day. Or 2 out of every 3 days. So they're gonna have to figure out how to make it work. Some of it also too can be being strategic about deploying him in different spots in a game. And maybe there's a matchup they like Alec Burleson for earlier in the game and they like Gorman later. And so Gorman gets 2 at bats that game and Burleson gets 2 at bats. We'll see what happens with that. But I think something that we didn't talk about necessarily yet, and before we get to the pitching, because I think we can finish out with that, is and I know we've kind of talked about it and everything too, but we've mostly focused on the actual performance, is the vibes. Like, this team does not look tight anymore. And again, they're winning and they're winning 5-run and 9-run, like scoring games. Like, a lot easier to look like you're having fun when you're dominating. But even Nato is like doing like WWE celebrations when he comes out of the dugout to celebrate for the curtain call. Newt is being like all-time Newt right now. They're doing the little Flappy Bird thing, the hang or the youngery birds. Vic's been fun to watch. Burleson's been fun. Like, they all just seem to be having fun right now, and I think that's again a recipe for a more successful team this year, where it makes sense when your 2 leaders in the past are Paul Goldschmidt, who's more stoic, and Nato, whose feelings can kind of up and down depending on the day. Brendan Donovan's emerging as a leader, but he's a little more even keeled. But I think he can relate to both sides of it. But then you're letting Lars Nootbaar's personality come out. You're letting Wilson Contreras be the fun like guy who eats batting tape and slams his bat and then like just gets super excited and throws his hat off and makes those fun grabs. You've got Victor Scott bringing all the energy. Burleson, like, am I wrong? It's like, I think again, if there's 2 things that I think we should like that you can't overanalyze for this series, at least in my opinion, it's the vibes in the dugout, even from Ollie, and it's the at bats they're taking so far. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, like this team just seems more fun like than it has in the past, and I don't know if that's. I mean, this is the same roster that they ran out last year, just minus Goldie. So I don't think Goldie was really sucking up all the fun. It just seems like these guys have another year under their belts, and they're starting to come into their own. And I think also, I mean, well, with Nolan Gorman aside, pretty much all these guys are guaranteed playing time, right? It doesn't matter how bad Jordan Walker's going to be. He's going to be the right fielder every day for like 150 plus games this season, unless he gets hurt. And that's totally fine, right?
We'll see, but I mean, that's what we thought Nolan Gorman was going to be going into
Yeah.
the year, and then they benched him. So I'm not actually all that confident that if Walker looked terrible, that they would just keep rolling with him, if there's another option.
Yeah, and then I don't know. Like, part of me is worried that Mo is going to like kind of try to salvage the season for his legacy and try to do some stuff to leverage the future to be better today. And I mean, you were there for the reception that he got. It was pretty funny. I didn't boo, but I was laughing.
Well, I was disappointed by it because like I thought Bernie made a really good point about this, that it's like, okay, I know that we're showing you don't see Mo every day, so you don't get the opportunity to boo him like every other day. But like, opening day is a celebration. And I'm not gonna tell people how to respond. I just was hoping that it wasn't like that bad of boos, and it was, because they showed like this video of like, hey, he was the architect of a World Series championship team and a lot of winning here. And last half has been bad. We've mocked him all off season, but like, it just kind of sucked to see him receive that. And the Cardinals have won a lot under the DeWitts. Anyways, I personally just don't love doing that to someone, but anyways, it's fine. But I mean, when we're trashing them on a podcast all the time, it's hard to, I feel like I'm speaking out both sides of my mouth, but still.
I mean, I didn't even know what the video was for. I was like, what is this video? And I was like looking at the highlights. I was like, is this the all-time Cardinals video? I was like, why are these all from the last 20 years? And I was like, oh, it's from Mo. Yeah. The moment they showed the thing of him,
Oh, I like that.
The moment that they showed the like thing with like the Newt news and Mo was like in there, and like in the celebration, I was like, oh, this is for Mo. This is not to honor the team. This is to honor Mo.
Yeah.
And then I was ready, but I mean, I thought it was pretty funny. I didn't boo him, but I was like, huh. I certainly didn't help the crowd get out of it. I don't know. The DeWitts are the DeWitts. I booed the DeWitts, maybe, potentially, possibly, but
we need to get that on a T-shirt. This is our moment.
With a fake like printed bow tie at the top.
Oh my gosh!
That would be fun.
Okay, I think chat, let us know. Like some kind of shirt, like this is our moment. It's got maybe a bow tie up here. I'd like that
yeah,
collar.
yeah.
Yeah. We have some momentum. Ooh.
I don't know. Does Mo go on and give a speech like Albert Pujols? Do they bring back all of the players that? Do they bring back Albert Pujols to come back and give a speech for how great Mo was, and then
They should
give away water bottles at the ballpark? But I don't know. What were you talking about? The pitching?
The vibes.
Yeah, I feel like the vibes are good, right? Like these guys know that they're going to get playing time, and like everyone here has done it before. I don't think there's any rookies on this roster, right? Like in terms of like the main core, like all of these guys have already had a year under their belt. Like Victor Scott's probably the guy with the least amount of experience, but he's had a great spring. He's hitting well, so
Do it for Mo before he go.
yeah.
Man, this would actually kind of, in a weird way, be the most like Mo way to go out. Would be to have a team with like everyone's down on, frustrated by, and then they somehow win, because that has been like.
I mean, it's
A
been
lot of
3
times
games. The Marlins are in first place right now, so
I know. I'm not saying that's what's for sure going to happen. It just would be. This would be ironic for this to be the way it goes, for Mo. But yeah, okay. So we have talked about the hitting, the vibes, all that. And again, if you guys have thoughts on that in the chat, continue to let us know, because we can jump back in on some of those. But the pitching, I think, was an interesting conversation. To your point earlier, Andrew, I think on one hand, you could be really encouraged by Sonny Gray's outing because he didn't have his best stuff and he still navigated the lineup. He gave up that 2-run bomb to Harrison Bader, but otherwise was able to kind of shut down the Minnesota Twins. Again, their lineup didn't look good all series. So is that their lineup or the Cardinals pitching? We'll see. But his velo is down. So like one start, okay, pretty good. But like, are we concerned? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Eric Fetty looked pretty good on Saturday. I like that. And Palante's velocity was up again today. He did give up 2 runs, but looked pretty good too. And then the bullpen's really been lights out. You had like Leahy didn't have. I think Leahy's the only one who really struggled. King came in and got the ground ball that he needed, but the runs went in and went to Leahy. Maton's looked great. Helsley looked great in his one appearance. JoJo's looked good. Steve Masters looked pretty good coming out of the bullpen. I like what I see from the pitching so far. What about you?
I think there's not too much. Like they've outscored the teams where the pitching hasn't really mattered that much. Gray, I think, is the guy that I'm the most concerned about, just all of the stuff that you said. And he said after in post game that he's still working through some things and he's going to try to get that velo back. But like even still, like he didn't have his best up, navigated a tough lineup. Pretty good. A couple of times I think he got a little bit lucky. A couple calls went his way, a couple balls hit right to guys. But I mean, he did his job. That's what he's out there to do, is to get outs. And to headline that rotation. Eric Fetty looked great. The comparison that I drew was that he's like 2022 Miles Michaelis, which hopefully they don't extend him. But like he looks good. He looks like one of those guys the Cardinals typically rely on. And like if they extend him, I'm going to be mad. But if they keep him around and he makes an all-star team, I'd be shocked. A little bit, but not really. And then Palante had like a weak little hit today, drop. And then he gave up a homer after the Cardinals were already up like 7 runs. So I wasn't too worried about that. And looked sharp. I think he could have gone back out there if the game didn't get delayed. But then Steven Matz getting a 4-inning save, which is great.
Yeah.
I always love seeing the score graphics, and I finally got to make one. It's been a while where a team wins by like 7 runs and there's still a save.
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
Yeah,
it was good. The bullpen, Helsley looked good. He looked really good on opening day, and I'm glad we haven't seen him since. This is refreshing, where you don't have to use your closer for every win. And it seems like every time last year the Cardinals won a game, Helsley was in the game, and the Cardinals are 3-0, and Helsley only has 1 save, so that's good to see.
Yeah. Just also, we have a huge turnout today. It's been really fun. So like and subscribe helps channel a ton. Again, I think we have like 25 likes right now. We got 97 in here. So smash that like button, helps the video. Keep commenting. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're listening later, comment, let us know. If you're listening now, like and subscribe. We're doing a giveaway right now. I think we're probably gonna maybe announce the winner tomorrow.
I was supposed to announce it the other day.
Oh, well, Did you already do the drawing or
No,
no?
I haven't.
Okay, well, I think if you're listening now, if you subscribe and you go reply on Twitter, and you can still get entered in real quick. But it's a game worn pants from Wilson Contreras, which is kind of funny, but it's also really funny. It's a cool item to have. So giving that away, and then maybe some more giveaways coming here soon. So yeah, like and subscribe helps channel a ton. And I think I do want to talk a little bit about the Angel series, because again, they are pretty terrible. Oh yeah, also real quick, Kareem, as Kareem said, watch his finale of his top 30 prospects. He's got the top 10 posted. So go check out Kareem's top 10 prospects over on the channel. They're facing two lefties this series, which I do think is really interesting. Tyler Anderson obviously
one of them is like a really bad lefty though.
Well, Tyler Anderson is like the left-handed version of Kyle Hendricks, though, so that scares me a little bit.
For the Cardinals,
I'm saying he's that style of pitcher.
He's like the left-handed version of Miles Michaelis.
But here's the problem: the Cardinals were terrible against left-handed pitching last year. Like runners in scoring position, historically bad. Left-handed pitching, they were just bad, and right-handed pitching, they're about league average, a little over. I think they're like 102 WRC plus or something. It's righties, but lefties they're like 10% below league average. You've got to have Luke and Baker in the lineup tomorrow. You just have to. My ideal lineup, I talked about this the other day, is Nootbaar leading off still with Contreras batting second, Mason Wynn batting third, because Mason's actually got really good power. He has like a 500 slug last year against lefties. I'd put him third over Brendan Donovan. Nato can bat fourth still, and then Luke and Baker batting fifth to get that power there. And then go like probably Donovan or Yvonne, then the other one, Walker, and then I think it's VS2. Yeah, after that. And so I think that's a really interesting lineup. I think the Cardinals need to figure out a way to maximize their ability against left-handed pitching. Now, here's the thing. Jackie's good point about Brendan or Mason Wynn staying near the bottom of the order. I did some homework on that to make sure, because I was like, I wonder what his numbers were against lefties while leading off. It was even better. So he just matches left-handed pitching. There was a real difference last year against right-handed pitching at the bottom of the order versus the top of the order. But then last year against left-handed pitching, he just mashed them no matter where he was in the lineup. Again, I think it's just interesting. Well, yeah, he fell off as a total hitter throughout the year. But again, his total numbers against left-handed pitching, his power went up in the second half, and it went up against left-handed pitching. So again, if they don't bat him third in this series because of how he's looked so far, I get it. But he's also faced right-handed pitching this series. So that's one of my interesting thoughts of that. Or one of my thoughts I think is interesting. But the left-handed pitching I think is a real dynamic. I wouldn't be shocked if the Cardinals lineup struggles in those two games, because the last few years they have, Nootbaar's good against there's only 4 players last year that had consistent playing time that were good against lefties. Actually 3, because Baker is one of those guys, and he didn't have consistent playing time. But it was Contreras, it was Nootbaar, and it was Goldschmidt, who were really good. Oh, I guess there was another guy last year that was, I think Donovan. No, Donovan was bad. It might have just been those 3. Yeah, it was just those 3, because Goldie was the other one. He's gone now. So anyways, I think they really got to show us something this series with that. That's one of the things I'm still, again, you need a larger sample size to figure out what that looks like. But again, okay, I said the chat really hates it right now, but tell me when a guy has a 500 slug and a like almost 900 OPS against one side of the plate, and you tell me he shouldn't have batted in the middle of the order. I mean, it was the whole Tommy Edman thing. He matched against left-handed pitching, and you put him at the bottom of the order. It's like, what are you doing? Like the Dodgers get it. They put him at the top of the order.
Third against some of these guys in the playoffs. So
yeah, because the Dodgers knew what they were doing. So again, I get it. Mason Wynn doesn't look good right now. Doesn't look comfortable. So sure, whatever. But anyways, I think it's interesting. So that's what I'm looking for in this series is, can they hit left-handed pitching? Because in general, they should beat the Angels. They should get 2 of 3, if not a sweep. Sweeps are hard, though, so it's hard to always say that. But we have a special guest, though, that needs to tell us what he's looking for from the Angels series. So, oh my gosh. Sandy, welcome in. Did you hear the Cardinals swept the Twins?
Yeah, I was trying to check in. I was at an ultimate tournament this weekend. Just lost in the championship game, so I was out there all day. But great game from the Cardinals. A little Gorm hit. That was nice. 3 for 4. Yeah. Cardinals getting production from the bottom of the lineup. How about Victor Scott? How about Pedro Pajes, a triple short of the cycle?
You're getting some goat chat in the chat right now.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm is Kyle Hendricks lined up to start?
Yes, game 2.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that game because he might be finally washed enough to not dominate the Cardinals. So
yeah, give us
I
your
wouldn't say that, but
give us your quick thoughts on the series first, and then like, okay, you can, anything else you want to say about the Angels? What I just said about the Angels is I want to see them hit against left-handed pitching because you've got Tyler Anderson on the mound and Kikuchi.
Yeah.
Last year they could not hit left-handed pitching. The chat hates me for it, but I think you should bat Mason Wynn third against lefties because he has a 500 slug against lefties last year. He was awesome. But anyways, it's fine. It's fine. Hate on me. But yeah, what did you think about the Twin series? And then anything you want to put on for what you're wanting to see for this next series?
I mean, I couldn't have enough positive things to say about the team this series. They scored 19 runs in 3 games. Pitching held up. I loved seeing Matz in long relief role today. I'm a huge fan of have a long reliever to save the bullpen. So only using 2 pitchers today was fantastic. Great stuff from all 3 of our starters this series. Palante and Sonny Gray, especially after looking kind of rocky in spring training. I think a lot of us thought Gray may even hit the IL at some point early in the season. But they both pitched really well. Very happy to see Palante out there. I wonder if we're playing with juice balls. Is this like the 2019 ball all over again? I feel like it's a homer fest all over MLB. I don't know if you guys have talked about that yet. But I just couldn't have enough positive things to say about the team after this first series. And I just want to tell everybody, all the guys that were down on the team before the season, like maybe we're not that bad.
Well,
Fun
Sandy
times.
did pick them to win the World Series, so he's the only one right now who can say he saw this coming.
Yes, sir. I mean, how many games do you guys think they'll win in this Angels series?
they better win 2. If they don't win 2, like just who's on that line? Who's in that lineup? You just walk Mike Trout, and he can't run. He's not going to steal bases because he'll just get hurt. Like,
It's true.
what are you going to do? There's no one else in that lineup can even hit.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're either going to sweep. Well, I'm not afraid they would sweep. That'd be awesome. I'm afraid they're either going to sweep though or get swept. I can see a total letdown just because it's the Cardinals, but I would hope at least 2 of 3. If you drop a series, that's
3 games against the White Sox. They haven't finished the 3rd game yet, but they have scored a total, I think, of 4 runs.
I would be very interested to see what the like historically playoff odds of teams that start 6-0. Because that's a huge advantage to start the season that way. So,
I mean, it's a small sample size, but are you guys changing at all how you feel about the team right now? Probably not. It's 3 games, 1 series, but maybe there are things to be like very positive about moving forward.
I mean, I think a lot of the things that I said, like what if this happens, are starting to happen.
Yeah,
like we were saying, like if Brant Brown is a really great hitting coach, and the approach changes with runners in scoring position, and guys like Walker and Gorman and Nootbaar start to hit like what they're supposed to be able to hit, then all those things have happened this weekend. And like they need to continue to keep happening, but they are happening. And that makes me like if this team was winning because Arenado hit a clutch homer on opening day, and then they won yesterday like 2-1 because they made a couple of errors, and then they won today like 3-0 because Wilson Contreras hit a homer. Like, no, but like they're winning these games the way that they should be winning these games for it to be sustainable, and I like that.
What's their team numbers with runners in scoring position right now? I should look, but it's pretty good.
Sandy keeps a record of this somewhere.
I generally do. I haven't had a chance to look at all the stats. I just got a quick peek at the box score today.
I'll pull that up, but I did get someone who, after opening day, you can guess who he might be a main character in a 80s movie that everyone knows, replying being like, the Cardinals went 3 for 12 or whatever with runners in scoring position, and it was like 8th best in baseball from opening day, and it was like, are we really going to complain about that? Like, they won, they scored 5 runs. Like,
if the Cardinals could hit 250 with runners in scoring position all year, we'd be a fine team.
I know. Sometimes people just want to hate on everything. Oh my gosh. But I'm gonna get the RISP numbers up here in a second. Score position, OPS. Let's see. Cardinals are 5th in OPS right now for scoring position. Slug, they're 4th. On base percentage, they're 6th. Batting average, they are 6th. So, and I also saw a tweet from Jacob over on Twitter. Cardinals, he's not his Cardinals Week account, but the other one. Gosh, I lost it. But basically, it took them like 150 at-bats with runners in scoring position last year to have 7 extra base hits. It only took them 50 this year. It's like it's just intriguing, some of the changes so far with this. But to your question, though, I think I'm ready to change my tune a little bit. but not like to go like, oh, they're a playoff team, they're gonna win the division, all this stuff. We need to see a lot more. But I was I was more of a pessimistic 80 and 82. I'll say 81 and 81 now, a 1-game improvement. You started 3-0, but I think I was worried they were going to make me want to tear my hair out this year. At the very least, I think they're going to be really fun to watch. Even if they end up not making the playoffs and it's like they're 80 and 82, like I still think it's going to be a fun team. And I'm less concerned about the end of the season coming because I thought it was very possible. I'm less concerned about the end of the year coming and this needing to be a full-scale rebuild, because if they really failed this year, then you'd be looking at like your 3 of Walker, your 4 of Gorman, all these guys, and you still don't know what you know having them. You got to tear it down at that point. I don't think you're going to come to that. I think you're going to come to a whether it's a very successful year this year or like they missed the playoffs, but there's building blocks. So I'm ready. I'm kind of ready to already say that. But in terms of like they're a playoff team, win the division, we got to see a lot more.
Who knows? Yeah. I also think it's very positive. That was the hardest hit base hit of Walker's career the other day. Just wanted to note that. I don't know if we talked. Was it 117 and 117.5 off the bat?
Yeah, and it's the hardest hit ball of the Cardinals and the Statcast era, other than one ball Marcell Ozuna hit.
That's awesome. I mean, that's the kind of stuff. Like, that's the kind of stuff that even in a small sample size you can be excited about. Walker's made contact a lot of times at the big league level, and he's never hit a ball that hard. That's awesome.
Yeah. And Gorham looked comfortable today. I think we talked about this earlier, that like even more so than the stats right now, I'm very intrigued by the quality of at-bats you're seeing right now. Victor Scott looks very comfortable. Obviously, he's got a refined approach. Same with Nolan Gorman. They've already talked about this as a team, but it's like, hey, sometimes you do want to slug, and other times you just need to figure out how to get the ball up the middle and do what you can with the pitch, because that's what the situation calls for. And again, it's really easy to say that when you just swept a team in 3 games. Like, you can say all the beautiful things you want in the world, but this is the same kind of stuff we heard in camp. It seems different. Aside from Andrew, it's like you never heard Turner Ward ever brought up by anyone unless they're asked by it, and people are just raving about Brant Brown. So I think it's encouraging stuff to see. So the 2 things I take the most from the series is the quality of at-bats they're taking. It doesn't necessarily mean to always produce results, but it should lead to better results if you continue the good process. And then the vibes with the team, right? Like they look like they're having so much fun.
Absolutely. How many 3-hit games did Gorm have all of last year? Like, I don't know the answer to that question, but not a lot.
Honestly, maybe every game that he had a hit, because that seemed to be what happened. But
I mean, it's it's just very positive to see things start off well, because a lot of the stuff like barely happened at all last year, you know? And so maybe there's projection for some growth this year. Get some guys doing this stuff. Like if Walker keeps hitting the ball really hard, that's a huge step in the right direction, you know?
Yeah. And we are talking about NL Central here. Like if they were in the NL East or the NL West, like it's like, congrats, you still got the Phillies and the Braves and the Mets, or congrats, you still got the Dodgers and the Padres and the Diamondbacks. But it's like, I don't know. NL Central is pretty wide open, so it doesn't mean they're going to do anything. But
nice to see some of these other teams in the Central start off kind of slow too.
Yep.
Pirates just drop a series to the Marlins. Is that accurate?
The Marlins are in first place.
It's awesome.
Yep. The Cubs got a dumb win last night. Brewers are 0-3. Pirates 1-3. Reds 1-2. Cubs 2-3.
Yeah,
you'd love to see it.
Angels are in some trouble against the White Sox.
Come on.
Yeah. Hey, good point. Again, we talked about this earlier, but Jen's brought it up again. Like in all seriousness, they beat 3 good starters. They beat Lopez, they beat Oder, and they beat Ober, and they beat Joe Ryan. And then like Griffin Jacks they hit off of, which is arguably a top 5 reliever in baseball last year. Duran they knocked out of the game, and he's got filthy stuff. Like it's not like they're facing the Marlins pitch, or Marlins pitching can be good sometimes. You know, the Angels pitching. Well, I shouldn't say that yet because they're about to face it. I don't want to jinx it, but you know what I mean. The White Sox pitching.
I feel like we could come back to this in like a couple weeks, and this could all look really dumb.
We can come back to this in a couple days, and this could look dumb.
Yeah,
sure. But let's enjoy it while it's happening.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing too. It's like, can we like it's okay to enjoy baseball, guys. Like we don't always have to like be like, it sucks, and it's like, who cares? It's like, you know, you can have fun. That's why there's 162 of them. But anyways, anything else you guys are looking for in the Angels series at all? I mean, obviously, I am intrigued to see when you've got the back of the rotation with Michaelis and Libby. Like, is that going to be more of a struggle starting pitching wise? But again, I think the big thing for me, far and away, is how do they compete against left-handed starting pitching? Because that's been a major issue for them.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Trout hasn't really gotten off to a hot start so far this season, so I'll sprinkle a little bit on underdog tomorrow, probably for a homer against Miles Michaelis. But you know.
Yeah. Who knows? Sandy, anything else you're watching for?
I'm definitely excited to see how the back half of the rotation performs. I think we'll get into the bullpen a little more probably. We didn't have to really use a ton of relievers this series, especially not in this game. We knew we had the off day as well between those games, so you could reuse some guys if you needed. So hopeful to see how the bullpen shakes out. Obviously, the early returns are very good, which for a middle reliever glazer like myself is quite exciting. And then I'm just excited to see some of these hitters maybe sustain their production. Lars Nootbaar's hot to start the season. Maybe that keeps up a little bit. Victor Scott is hot to start the season, right? I'd love to see Mason Wynn get it going a bit. Yeah, that's how I feel going into this series, though.
Yeah. So we'll see. What are your final predictions? I'm gonna give mine last. And no, I'm gonna say they're gonna sweep. They're gonna sweep the Angels. I'm riding high, riding the emotions.
I'm gonna say that
I
they
think they're
take
like
2 out of 3. Yeah.
2 or
2
3.
and 3, but they lose the Hendricks game because why not? That's what happens.
Is Hendricks pitching against Michaelis too?
He's pitching against Libertor.
Yeah.
Well, they should line it up for Michaelis.
I think Michaelis is going to be fine against the Angels. Like, it's not a great lineup. He'll probably go like 5, give up 3. And as long as the offense can cook against the back half of the Angels rotation, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Angels bullpen is stronger than years past, though. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, they rushed those relievers.
I mean, they have Ben Joyce, who I would have been scared of if Goldie was still here, but.
Oh gosh,
it's true.
I feel like
Goldie hitting
you can handle Hilo a little bit better.
Yeah, Goldie has been looking good.
A leadoff homer because there were no runners in scoring position.
Oh my gosh, jeez, he like can't catch. He's catching strays right now. Goldie's not even here anymore.
Yeah.
We're already talking about wrist issues for him. So let him be happy. Let him be beardless and happy in New York. Okay. If I'm afraid of any game, it's not actually the Hendricks game. It's the lefties games. I'm very nervous about this. I don't think people are nervous enough yet. But hopefully
it's annoying because we crushed lefties a few years ago.
Yeah. But that's when you have Pujols,
2022.
O'Neill, Goldschmidt, Arenado, like all the guys who could do it. Now it's like, ugh.
Oh, Arenado. Let's talk about Arenado. So much good from this series for Arenado. Come on.
Does he still get traded?
I didn't listen to the past earlier in the stream.
It's okay. We got a bunch of some people tuning in now. It's just fun. So, So again, like the stream if you're in now, helps out a ton. But yeah, we're all very excited about the Cardinals right now. So I'm gonna say they sweep. We got 2 of 3 from those guys. And again, if they just win the series, they'll be 5-1. Sweep, you'll be 6-0 to start the year, which is pretty crazy. So then you go to Boston this weekend, which is also in a really interesting series. So High Bloom Revenge Tour.
High Bloom Revenge, yeah.
Oh, great minds think alike there. Yeah.
There we go.
We actually debuted that one in I think we did when he got announced as Pobo. Yeah. But yeah, what a fun stream. Hey, guys.
I mean, Yusei Kikuchi is always the guy Sandy says with such disdain when I talk about NPB pitchers. He says his name with like so much hate.
I do not.
You get to face him on Wednesday. We'll see what happens.
That'll be nice. Very excited for that.
Yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone for tuning in again today. Again, very fun weekend. Again, it's just 3 games. Just start a series. A lot of things can change, but man, it's fun to watch the team win. And vibes are great. Let's keep them up. Cardinals are on pace for 162-0 right now. So let's see if they can keep it up. We'll be back probably Wednesday or Thursday again after the Angels series or sometime in the midst of that. So be sure to check that out. I know we got Birds on the Farm returning here soon as well. So excited about that. Kareem and Sandy host that. They do an incredible job over there. Make sure to check out Kareem's top 30 videos. He's got 3 different videos on his top 30 prospects on our channel, and 1 through 10 10 through 1 just came out. So go check that out and give that some love. Like and subscribe, helps channel a ton. Go check out 314 Sports Cards and collectibles. Go check out Underdog Sports. You can download in the link in our description. You can use the promo code CARDS for a first free pick'em plus a deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Again, we really appreciate you guys. We're really excited about this season. We'll see you guys soon. Go Cardinals.
Thanks, Brant.